everything's alright.
From the combination heights, quest the truth is our guide. In the vast expanse, it's where we reside. Hands up to the sky, let the bass ignite. Feel the groove surround us, everything's alright. SNX radio, let the truth ignite. Together we'll shine, bringing shadows to light. In this cosmic dance, we're connecting the dots.
Tune into the frequency, let's explore the spots. Heavy bass drops with tight beats.
Illuminate the shadows, the echo of our call.
On this roller we will never fall.
Feel the energy rising, can you sense the spark? As we dive deeper into the cosmic arc.
Stories of the universe, mysteries unfold. In the heart of SNX, where the truth is gold. Every note we play, every line we write, crafting our legacy, shining ever bright.
SNX radio, let the truth ignite. Together we'll shine, bringing shadows to light. In this cosmic dance, we're connecting the dots.
Tune into the frequency, let's explore the spot. Here in the spotlight, we're taking our turn. With the fire in our hearts, let the passion burn. SNX radio's call, ringing through the air. Together we rise, together we dare.
So join us now, let the rhythm flow. With SNX radio, we're ready to go. Unraveling the mystery side by side, we stand hand in hand. In this dance of truth, let the story expand. In the skies, they're cruising fast. Truths are buried in the past. Lights are blinking through the night. Secrets hidden out of sight. Stars reflecting coded blinks. Messengers from distant links. Whispers travel through the air. Signs of life beyond despair. Let the veil no more disguise. We'll uncover all their lies. Truth embargo meets your end. On this journey we'll transcend. Mysteries in cosmic dust. Unveil secrets we can trust. Hidden realms of shadow play. Night gets brighter every day. Voices from the great unknown. Echoes of a world they've shown. Across galaxies they roam. We're not in this fight alone. Lift the veil, no more disguise. We'll uncover all their lies. Truth embargo meets your end. On this journey we'll transcend. We'll transcend. Mysteries and cosmic dust. Unveil secrets we can trust. Truth embargo meets your end. On this journey we'll transcend.
our guide in the vast expanse. It's where we reside, hands up to the sky, let the bass ignite. Feel the grooves around us, everything's alright.
From the foundation takes place, the truth is our guide in the vast expanse. It's where we reside, hands up to the sky, let the bass ignite. Feel the grooves surround us, everything's alright. SNX Radio, let the truth ignite. Together we'll shine, bringing shadows to light. In this cosmic dance, we're connecting the dots.
Tune into the frequency, let's explore the spots. Heavy bass drops with tight beats.
Illuminate the shadows, the echo of our call.
On this roller ring will never fall.
Feel the energy rising, can you sense the spark? As we dive deeper into the cosmic arc.
Stories of the universe, mysteries unfold. In the heart of SNX, where the truth is gold. Every note we play, every line we write, crafting our legacy, shining ever bright.
SNX Radio, let the truth ignite. Together we'll shine, bringing shadows to light. In this cosmic dance, we're connecting the dots.
Tune into the frequency, let's explore the spot. Here in the spotlight, we're taking our turn. With the fire in our hearts, let the passion burn. SNX Radio's call, ringing through the air. Together we rise, together we dare.
So join us now, let the rhythm flow. With SNX Radio, we're ready to go. Unraveling the mystery side by side, we stand hand in hand. In this dance of truth, let the story expand. And we roam, finding our place in the vastness we call home. With courage and wonder, we reach for the light, guided by visions that illuminate the night. Mystery cloaked in the vast unknown, truth and discovery seeds we sow. In the starlit wonder, we seek the key to unlock the secrets of our galaxy. Chasing the dreams that fill the night. Stars are our compass, and time is our friend. Together we'll journey where stories transcend. Mystery cloaked in the vast unknown. Truth and discovery seeds we sow. In the starlit wonder, we seek the key to unlock the secrets of our galaxy. Our spirits ignite, chasing the dreams that fill the night. Stars are our compass, and time is our friend. Together we'll journey where stories transcend. Mystery cloaked in the vast unknown. Truth and discovery seeds we sow. In the starlit wonder, we seek the key to unlock the secrets of our galaxy. Through endless horizons, our spirits ignite, chasing the dreams that fill the night. Stars are our compass, and time is our friend. Together we'll journey where stories transcend. Through endless horizons, our spirits ignite, chasing the dreams that from the fight. In each passing moment, our wisdom grows. In the dance of the universe, the truth flows. In the quiet of the night, we dream and fly, with questions that echo through an endless sky. Bound by the stars, our story unfolds. In the universe, our destinies are told. In the quiet, oh yeah, where the stars and secrets flow. Subnation X radios glow. In the night, we'll ride the show into the unknown, unknown, where mysteries are shown, shown. Dance to the beat we own, oh, yeah. Come with us and let it go, go. Night sky whispers in the dark. Secret trails will leave a mark. Follow close, ignite that spark. We're on a ride, it's just the start. Into the unknown, unknown, where mysteries are shown, shown. Dance to the beat we own, oh, yeah. Come with us and let it go, go. Feel the rhythm, feel the night. Every heartbeat, pure delight. So mysteries come to light. Hold on tight, it's out of sight, sight. Into the unknown, unknown, where mysteries are shown, shown. Dance to the beat we own, oh, yeah. Come with us and let it go, go. Feel the rhythm, feel the night. Let every heartbeat, pure delight. Mysteries come to light. Hold on tight, it's out of sight, it's out of sight. Into the unknown, unknown, where mysteries are shown, shown. Dance to the beat we own, oh, yeah. Come with us and let it go, go. Look at you, big pocket. Unraveling the mystery, secrets in the night. We travel through the cosmos, ready for the flight. Together we'll shine, some shadows aside. In the heart of the rhythm where our dreams collide.
Join the Subnation X quest, the truth is our guide. In the vast expanse, it's where we reside. Hands up to the sky, let the bass ignite. Feel the grooves around us, everything's alright.
From the Subnation X quest, the truth is our guide. In the vast expanse, it's where we reside. Hands up to the sky, let the bass ignite. Feel the grooves surround us, everything's alright. SNX radio, let the truth ignite. Together we'll shine, bring shadows to light. In this cosmic dance, we're connecting the dots.
Tune into the frequency, let's explore the spots. Heavy bass drops with tight beats.
Illuminate the shadows, the echo of our call.
On this roller we will never fall.
Feel the energy rising, can you sense the spark? As we dive deeper into the cosmic art.
heart of SNX, where the truth is gold. Every note we play, every line we write, crafting our legacy, shining ever bright. SNX Radio, let the truth unite. Together we'll shine, bringing shadows to light. In this cosmic dance, we're connecting the dots. Tune into the frequency, let's explore the spot. Here in the spotlight, we're taking our turn. With the fire in our hearts, let the passion burn. SNX Radio's call, ringing through the air. Together we rise, together we dare. So join us now, let the rhythm flow. With SNX Radio, we're ready to go. Unraveling the mystery side by side, we stand hand in hand. In this dance of truth, let the story expand.
And we welcome everybody back to another Saturday night of SNX Radio. Tonight, Coley and Rodney. We got Rodney here. How you doing, Rod? Hanging in there? Do you have audio? Rodney? Can you hear me? Oh. So we were just testing. We had a new program download. So we'll get that going and I will get back into it. I just wanted to make sure after tomorrow or after yesterday that I had everything correct and going. So let me get right in here. And I'd like to welcome everybody from Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, X, Twix, I don't know, Kick. And then we are soon to be rolling on Amazon Prime Live, which will be a lot of fun and pretty excited about that. So in the meantime, we do have our very special guest from last night, Brian Minnick, come in. He knows more about Project Montauk, he has more documents and more things that I have seen, the most compelling things, I should say I've seen. Video, he's been there 74, planning a 75th. He's done this for 36 years where he's gone out and they had videotapes. He's been out there even as a kid. And so he's been looking through and finding, it's just some amazing things. But back to back, he's been on Discovery, he's been on A&E, he's been on so many TV shows, and he's written this book that is, I think it reads like a bookish, like a dictionary, like the way that, and then he's got pictures to validate it. And he's got it's just like if you were going to go through and want all that information, you don't even need to go through all that. Like I only see the dictionary because when I was growing up, we just went to one dictionary, and we had to do projects back that far. But I'm just saying that it's absolutely brilliant. He's put together a ton of stuff, and I recommend, he's coming out now where he's going to try and put a map, yeah, of Montauk and check. This is unbelievably amazing. So this is part 2. We want to welcome everybody, and then just before, you know what, let me see. I think I got Rodney up here. I'm just want to go through our chat. And you know what? I know that Brian, he's so cool too, and he's in the chat. You'll see his name. So Brian, can we just add you on the stage? No. So and then let's just get this done. I think he likes to do this stuff. Hi Brian.
Hey,
Do you like
right.
to go through the chat too, don't you?
Yeah, I like to go in other people's shows in the chat and chat away all the time.
Okay, I was gonna start introducing the people in chat or talking to people, but I know that you're in there, and to let them know which is you and which is not. But we had a lot of people here yesterday, and they were asking questions. And like I said, anytime StreamYard does any improvements, it does just not automatically an improvement. It takes a
awesome
minute, but yeah. So I'm gonna go, and like I said, Brian's in there, and Rodney, I know he's in there too. So we're just gonna go through too. I'll go through Holly Rodman. Hello, girl. Hey, you. Little Cam, 51. Nice to meet you. Glad you came. Thank you for the support. And then I have little Cam. I don't know. I see some of these acronyms, like sometimes I'll mess up on them, but welcome and thank you to the show. We appreciate your support. I see Rodney in there and the star. He's got an amazing group. He should tell you, I'm sure,
Growing so fast.
tell you about it. So, yeah,
Yeah.
Polly, I love Polly. Scott Rosin, oh, he made it. That's awesome. And Brian, Montauk is strange. So I put it up there. I'm gonna see if since you're in there, if I can just pin it maybe, but I'm not making any promises. If not, just
No worries.
but
That's
yeah,
cool. Thank
it's
you.
not quite letting me do it, but I'll try in a second. And we have, yeah, Scott Rosin. He's great. Scott, I have a good story to tell you about today, and I will once we get in here. Let's see if I missed anybody in the initial chat. I don't think that I did. If I did, oh, we got Cassidy Lundgren. Oh, welcome. Yeah, I think we got down there. So if I missed anybody, believe me, I'll catch you. Don't worry. We'll get you on there and get around. But I just wanted to say, and I'm sorry, Brian, I didn't mean to pick you up for all this, but I
Oh
know
no,
you
no,
love
this is
going
fun.
through. So if any of that chat, when I'm done, like let us know because I know you like going through it. And if you see any of your people on there, please, by all means. But
Definitely. I
the
get a little
greatest thing
distracted.
happened in my life today, and the worst thing happened in my life today. And I just wanted to say something because this
Yeah.
story is, I'll keep it like to 2 minutes.
Take your
I
time.
was walking, I got lost. I'm in the middle of nowhere at farms. Like I totally was walking in the wrong direction. But waiting for my friend, she couldn't find me. My phone dies. And I thought I was stuck in the middle of nowhere and that I would miss a show tonight because I didn't even have a phone. And then it's like starting. So some nice people, and their names were John, or no, David and Susan. And they took me to their daughters. They invited me in even to have like a baby shower with them, or if I wanted any food or anything. They took
Nice.
me to the car. I mean, they were the greatest people in the world. I was about ready to have a heart attack. I looked on, and the nearest Uber or Lyft was a $200 one, and I was like, I'm walking. It didn't
Wow.
matter how I was getting there, and legitimately, they came, and I said, you know what? If you watch the show tonight, and I hope they are, I said I'm going on there, and I'm going to tell you, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart because I didn't know what I was going to do, and all I wanted to do was get back here for Brian to the show, and I was like, I can't cancel. So
Wow.
we're here. We're good. Yep,
Thank
we're
you.
good. We're okay. So I won't take up any more of your time, Brian.
No, that's fine. I love hearing about, all these things. Sorry that you had to go through all that and get this.
No, we
But I
got
mean, they
here,
sounded like
bro.
nice people.
Yeah, I would have trained, plane, automobiled it. I was crazy. No worries.
I know.
The show must go on.
Yeah,
Yes, let's move on.
indeed.
So let's get back into this, Brian. I know there
Yeah,
was a
sure.
few things that you came and you're like, okay, I want to clear up a few of these things. Do you want to start there?
Yeah,
Or would you
yes,
like to start?
I could start there. Yeah, definitely. Because yesterday, there was, we talked about the underwater Navy base or the tunnels, rather, that might be underwater. And when you said it, I actually thought you said about the water. You were asking me about the water tunnels, like
Oh,
water
I got you.
filtration and out ingoing, outgoing,
I could have
sewage.
said it,
But I know what you mean because people have been asking me about that a lot lately, actually. And there is no data. It's very hard to even find historical facts, documentation that this was a submarine base as well as a torpedo base where they built and tested what they call torpedoes and mines were the same thing back then.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like you would imagine, and they had a big testing range. But there was a place where submarines, I found documentation not only of the name submarine base, but a place where submarines can dock, temporarily. We also
I
found
bet.
underground structures there that were like, near the surface of the water, but there were long tunnels and some
Do you
buildings
think you
that had an
got from
underground.
Plum Island over to Montauk?
Well, the first submarine base in the U.S. was right across from Montauk, across the Long Island Sound.
No.
Yeah, and actually across the bay, Gardiner's Bay, because there's those two peninsulas at the end of Long Island. In
Yeah.
between them is a big
So
bay,
how
and
close,
right
I
across.
mean, like, would you say foot wide is Plum Island and Montauk?
They're probably miles. I mean, they're well. Let's see. I'd say like 20 miles out to sea north. But to drive on Long Island is like driving normally, except it's really long, But once you get out east, which is like a whole nother land with the water all in between everything, you literally like there's those two peninsulas. You have to go all the way around. So when you go to Montauk, you have to go all
Mm.
the way back and then double back the same way up the
What
other
if you were to
peninsula.
get there from under the ocean?
if you take a ferry straight to, there's a special ferry at the other top peninsula to go to Plum Island, and you have to go through a security checkpoint to even get on the ferry. You have to
That's
have,
what
I
I'm wondering if
believe,
there's not one below
uh,
connecting the two.
that's what that whole rumor and legend about the underground base under the Navy base is supposed to be, this underground submarine base, underwater
Mhm.
submarine base that's deep under there. So the crazy thing is, if you look on old Google Earth images of
Yeah.
Fort Pond Bay, which is where this submarine base was,
Okay.
you can see like different years when the water is still and you can see through the water. You can see this, what looks like a giant pipe, like the top of an entrance, like on a slight angle.
Mm.
So you see like it looks like there's a pipe and you're looking down on it, and it's massive. Like, two submarines or three could go through this thing like side by side. That's how big it looks. So, I mean, there's that, which is just there on Google Earth, but there's no real documentation for that. But there's a lot of legends, including, alien involvement in this base, and even a war between the factions of military that were trying to rehab the underground and then fighting over it down there. So it's like a whole false
Mm.
legend,
Mhm.
and that's on the early internet. So
Wow. Yeah, and how
we'll
it's
lay
been
that out.
changed, all that stuff.
Yeah, over time, and lost, and
One time I
lost
needed
in
some
translation.
information that was on a pretty big thing. It took Rendlesham Forest and
Wow.
they couldn't do. I'll have to tell you later. I leaked the documents.
Wow.
So anyway, that like there's yeah, it's just absolutely crazy. It really is. Like how they do this.
Some of those AI videos, those ones that are like really redundant, never get to the point. Uh,
Mhm.
they'll go on a topic, and you try to find out, like, they don't get to that point you're looking for in it. But sometimes if you watch them, and it takes like a lot to watch them, honestly, I usually have to bail out. But I've watched a few, and I saw a few things in those videos that AI found somewhere that like people can't seem to find. Almost like, how it gathers all the parts like within minutes for these videos and then
Yeah.
generates them, but it's going into places that I don't think people could get into sometimes, because I've seen it pull things that,
Yeah,
like,
me
where
too.
did they get
When it's
that piece
rifling
from?
going through all the stuff.
Yeah, so it might
What's
be a
that
cool
all
source
about?
for like little gems if you can stand watching through those long, summary videos that they make. They
Oh,
never
I
get to the
know.
summary.
But what about when they cross over? Have you ever seen when they had those 2 phones? They were side by side and
Oh
they were
yeah,
both AI making AI phone calls or whatever,
yes,
and
they
then they
changed
read
into
them.
their
Did
own
you see that?
code language. Yep, and they
Yeah, and
started
then they
talking,
started
and
beeping like, "Mer, mer."
yeah,
So I'm thinking, I said, they must be of the same type. What I fear the most is if this continues, that we're gonna be learning, I mean, not just their group, because there's groups of them right now. It's gonna be like if they can learn to communicate with one another,
oh
like the
god,
ways
yeah,
we're done. We are done.
yeah.
That would change everything.
That, and when they start building themselves like a von Neumann machine, they call it, who's, John von Neumann is tied to Montauk and all these stories. They say
Oh,
that
wow.
he replaced Nikola Tesla as far as a mathematician on the Philadelphia experiment. I think that came from Al Bielek, actually. But John von Neumann was heavily involved in Montauk, and so I found that interesting. But yeah, those von Neumann machines are like replicating machines. So it's like they'll first try to find the materials and then 3D print themselves, make copies of themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think of right away. It's like the first thing they're going to be looking for is to make copies.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. And we're doing it now too. It's just crazy.
I
It's
do
just
want to find out more about how they say, Al Bielek actually mentioned too. We were talking earlier. We mentioned Al, and I was thinking he also is the one that mentioned that the system underground at Montauk went rogue at one point, like started becoming self-aware and
wow.
making its own decisions. So I thought that I want to go back and look into that a little more. Something older.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think the singularity already happened, and the only reason people don't realize it is because it still needs humans. And once it doesn't need
Yeah.
us anymore, that's when you're gonna know.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of these theories. It's crazy how they come out in movies
Uh,
beforehand, but
so is there anybody that you have interviewed or anybody that you think that would be like compelled that maybe we could bring like a couple of people on to talk about it? Or would anybody ever do that?
I mean, there's plenty of people who have already been on shows that I've talked to, that are out there.
But like
Or
I'm
like,
saying
yeah.
that correlates like with your
Oh yeah,
projects.
I'd love to,
Not
like,
just somebody who's been out in Montauk, but some of the people that you or even if
oh,
you
I
got
still
video of them, if we could like get that
still
out
talk
there
to
and they could see
everybody,
like
and
more, I think it would be great.
yeah, no problem. I mean, I could ask. I have a lot of, like, I counted the amount of people that I went there with, different people. It was like well over 100 easily before I stopped counting. But with all the friends I used to go with, there was a group of like 30 of us that you can see rotating through the field reports that I wrote. I
That's
wrote first
awesome.
names or like nicknames, and the characters change. Those are all my friends, and I still talk to mostly all of them to this day. There's a few maybe I lost touch with, but they all like saw the same things as me.
Yeah.
I try to drag.
How cool would it be just to bring, like, even if they just wanted to collaborate that, or, I think that'd be awesome to look at, and then I don't know some
Sure.
things, but I'm just wondering. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just thought I'd throw it out
I'll
there.
definitely put it out there to people, and if anybody takes me up on it, I'll be glad to.
We want to know as much as we possibly can. I think it would be an amazing interview to have that. So,
That would
yeah,
be
so going on, I know that Rodney had a question. I forget what he wanted to talk to you
Well,
about.
he did mention before we on a previous show the first time we met where
Yeah,
we brought up the connection with Rome, New York, and then
yeah.
that
I
was
was going to give you some time, and you mentioned it
Oh, I'm
last
sorry.
night.
I
So
didn't
Yeah.
know if it had to do with what we're talking
Oh yeah,
about.
Rome. Well, that got me curious because I know there was a connection when I mentioned it to you, but I didn't recall like the exact details. They were fuzzy because it was probably 20 years since I last read that part of it. So I went in and started doing actually, the second part that I'm writing. I actually made a point and a whole part where I go back into all those old and chronological order after the base closed, supposedly in disaster, combine it with the history and the legend. And in that, after the base closed, there was a whole lot of really cool stuff about them reopening it and having that conflict with each other. And in the process, right after Montauk shut down in a hurry, August 12th, 1983, as you know, the day of the day that the project ended abruptly, they started making other Montauk chairs, like we were just talking about replicating.
Oh, yeah.
So they actually, it comes from one person who's in the circle of the original authors. And then it's backed up by some of the people in the original group, including Al Bielek, I think, was behind it. So the information was that Rome Air Force Base had their own chair, along with Dobbins Air Force Base in Atlanta, Georgia, and they had two more chairs there. And Rome would work with Rochester University. He said he was do stuff like some basic stuff in the library, or they take him into an attic just for some basic, uh, you know, portable type, whatever they were doing to him, experiments or procedures. And then he would go to the air base where they had an underground facility there and a chair. So I thought that was pretty interesting to find out. I almost forgot that there were other chair locations mentioned.
Oh, wow.
And so they said the second system that they used with all these chairs would link to something called Malta, which is not the country island near Italy. It's actually acronym. It's like Montauk Alsace Lorraine Mountain uh, um, Time Archives. It's the mountain range,
Oh my God, I do the
Alsace
same
Lorraine.
thing.
It's like between Germany and France somewhere. So yeah,
Oh
there's
my God.
supposedly a time
I'm so glad somebody else
record
does
of all the places that they used the chair to go to. Uh, yeah, it was very interesting, and then there was all the problems of time travel that started coming into it. So I stopped for now, like coming
I
back
know somebody
and
that has some pretty deep information on it if you ever want to know.
oh yeah, definitely. And
Like big scientist. Yeah.
sure, yeah, I do.
I'm ready to
I've
go.
been taking it slow, and like I said, a lot of these people that did give me info just
Yeah.
want to stay anonymous, or they're people that I know on like something simple, like we'll just talk to on like Instagram or Facebook that I just met, bought the book, and we're talking about it, thanking them, and then they send me a document or they send me pictures or a story of their
Hmm.
last trip there and what they saw. So it's compiling all those stories in like a lesser kind of, but people that have a bigger impact or like more to say, or a more direct involvement, I would definitely consider to come and talk. I guess not everybody wants to talk about it though. I noticed over the years. So
well, maybe with
Absolutely.
this
Yeah.
Whistleblowers Protection Act, it'll bring more people forward too.
That's
yeah,
what I thought too. That's exactly what I thought, Rodney. 'Cause sometimes when you go and you start to go bit, and then like helping you, like I'd love to help put some of that in and put you in contact because I think you're gonna, especially if you're gonna release that, you need to be out there. And I really feel like
yeah,
you're the one, like you're the, I've never seen anybody never seen any talk to anybody, and I talk to a lot of people that are as knowledgeable as Brian, and you don't even have to ask him like for a resource. He quotes those too, and I'm like, oh my
thank you.
God, where it's like
Yeah,
you
no
got
problem.
this so down, like, and I've heard it, and I would have sensed, and it's always the right people, the same people, and I always have questions I'll go back to, but yeah, no. So
Thank you.
there's two of
That's
these
nice.
potentially.
Yeah, there,
So where do they think do you have any info on where the
I,
second or where do they
oh, the
'cause
other
the
one was
third one or the
Atlanta.
first ones they think is down like 4 layers, right?
Well, they said, the original chair in Montauk, I guess, was abandoned when everything else was, and maybe damaged in some way, and maybe left there because, from what I understand, the place was cleared out, and then it was kind of empty for a little while, totally
Yeah, but
empty.
you found food, right? Receipts and things
Yeah,
like
so that's like part of it. When they came back in 1987, they supposedly started rehabbing the underground, and somebody had information. It was actually the Navy that was pumping out the tunnels. So that we're like accusing certain branches of being there, not necessarily, but this is exactly what those writings said on the early internet, coming from people. I say who they came from, and I kind of paraphrase some of it even just to keep it
that.
exact. But yeah, so far I had one in Rome and Atlanta
Mhm.
that I found, but there may be additional stuff from back then that I still haven't found, naming more like third or fourth location. I don't know. But those two
Are
were
they
definitely.
do they think they're in these types of locations underground, or they think like
So they
I'm
said
just
they moved the
wondering.
Georgia facility back to Montauk once it was refurbished, and so I guess that was a temporary facility. At that, they were all at Air Force bases, so it was like Montauk and then
Have they
Dobbins and
switched to the
Rome.
Navy, or are they still with the
So that was the battle that they supposedly had, was between the Navy and
Mhm.
the Air Force. And what's interesting is in the real estate records, they actually transfer in 1983 all this property where that bunker is when I went into as a kid and we found the big hole in the floor.
Yeah.
They transferred that whole area to the Navy. And then what
Yeah.
do? They like 2 years later,
That's
they
what
built.
is in the black budget. That's how they worked.
Yeah, it might be that they were actually, now they have property butting up next to each other. Also, they built this thing that there's a in the book. There's a delta T antenna. It's supposed to mean delta means
Well,
change.
they needed the Navy because of, how they were releasing those files. So they needed like
Mhm.
that Navy in there and out there doing those like things so they could encounter like what was going on. Don't you think? I don't
Yeah,
know, that's why I see. But when we started cracking codes, we started to know the shift. It did go back to the Army, but there was a period it was like all Navy. It was
wow.
weird. Yeah.
It's interesting how they have so many branches of the military there over the years in that area. But they built this thing that in the book is called the delta T. It's supposed to be like it's part of the time travel aspect. It looks like a D8 dice from Dungeons and Dragons. It's like an eight-sided shape. Uh, but they literally had that on a pole, and it was supposed to be a Coast Guard antenna. And then right next to it, they had a mini me, like a little baby Montauk radar version. It was so cool looking to me. But what is this thing? It looks like a directed energy weapon right there on the bluffs. They had like a fence around it. It was on a white generator box. And I have a picture of an old newspaper article where they printed it. They called it something about like the little version of the radar. And it was this company, Cardion, did a test there for like a year. They were using it to beam out at ships out in the water and test for whatever reason. So then the legends, they started saying it was brought up from the underground for testing,
Yeah,
but they
wow.
had a real license for a year and put this experimental little radar there aimed out at sea. So that was really interesting. That all happened around the same time. So it was interesting reading those old legends, but then you see like some actual
How
history
much
and
they come
real
into
estate.
play. Yeah,
Yeah, very cool. So I wonder
definitely.
myself.
Hmm.
But if
Yeah,
you keep
because
reading,
in talking about what I said before, I said, there's a way, and at a certain point, like Rodney made a really good point that, the more you speak out, the more this stuff gets out there. It's going to be way safer for you because you got to be careful too, because you're bringing forth like these maps and this stuff. But
yeah,
I think like you're probably one of the most courageous people in the world. Is there anybody,
wow.
like around you that does, will come in and like help you, like, or do you get teams together that you're able to go out there?
Yeah, I have I've collaborated with a whole bunch of different people and channels, and I've stayed friends with almost everybody. People we've given tour
Yeah.
to, people, other channels that we go there with. I've a couple buddies that we go with all the time, and new people I'm meeting all the time. So I talk to a lot of people. Also, this area is one of the most densely packed places in the country, population density. It's like
Mhm.
1,600 people per square mile, even out in the rural areas.
Oh, wow.
Somehow, I don't know how we jam all these people together so close, but so there's always people around. And when you go out to a place like Montauk, of course, there's not. But yeah, I stay talking to people, and if there's somebody official that I feel like I could ask for permission, or if they have an issue, I'll ask
Mhm.
them directly. Is this okay with you at this point? I've been doing this my whole life, but if it's a huge problem to you, then I don't have to go like in this area, or I have so many other
My
things to look
friend can
into.
come. I'd always have a
Mhm.
backup plan ready
Just
to
try to
go.
disarm people right away
Yeah.
with my intent. And if that doesn't work, then I mean, I've been doing this for so long. I would be surprised that I wouldn't get a warning. And if I did, I guess I didn't get the message, or I was naive enough to not even see it or something. I don't know.
I wonder if you,
But
yeah, no, I have so many ideas.
I
I think
think
this is
it's
wonderful,
okay
but
though.
continue like so you found an area where they possibly have another one of these. What is their characteristics? Are they above ground, underground, or how do they go ahead and go about doing all that?
You mean the tunnel, the system, the base under
The
there,
chair.
or? Oh, the chairs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, from what I understand, it was like a pretty simple. Actually, the chair itself wasn't anything special, but it was the circuit, the way they wrapped like all the copper wire, and there were some other components, obviously like crystals. So that brought into it. Uh, that brought a whole nother layer of stuff that we don't quite
Oh,
understand, but having to do with electricity and probably radio frequency, because like in every remote control car or remote control anything, there's a small like crystal.
yeah.
So if you think about that, it's kind of similar. Like they could have been utilizing crystals in that manner. Who knows what they were doing? Because there's a lot of radio
Mm.
frequency talk about in all these experiments. I don't know. I think they just once they found out one worked, they built others, and once that place was no longer to Montauk was no longer able to be used, they moved it to other locations where they built new versions there. And who knows?
Mhm.
I'm sure they may have built many more, or they may have upgraded to a whole new way of doing things where they don't need, because there's a lot of different things. Like there was looking glass first, that
Yeah.
they tied that into Montauk, but who knows where that goes. But there was also after, there was the talk of Stargate we were talking about before. So that was like a ring, a portal that you would walk through, kind of like the movie itself, and that was also mentioned in the Montauk lore and legend in the first book series of
Okay,
having
you
this
know the
ability.
part where the black stuff comes, whatever it
Yeah,
is that they're
that's
getting that. Okay, I don't know what to call it. The black matter. I don't know what, but you know what I'm talking about.
yeah, the
That coming up
liquid
and them
black goo.
summoning them, and then also that kid who was stuck there and he was like affecting the electricity. Like,
Mhm.
are parts of that
That was a
true,
cool.
or
Yeah, you
do
asked me
you
yesterday.
see it
That
in the
was.
story? Because I always wondered where those parts kind of connected.
Yeah, I think that I meant to answer that yesterday. That was another thing I wanted to go back on because I think the best way, like the upside down and the black goo, that's like almost represents nanomachines because they can look like black liquid, but they're like thousands of little shape-shifting computers. But
Hmm.
also the part about the whole around us at all times, like the ether or the aether, that is around us. It's like another dimension is right here with us at this moment, but you can't interact with it. You can't perceive it. You can't touch it. You can't see it. You know what I mean? And so,
Hmm.
but that is kind of like the upside down. It's this dimension that's right there with us, but it's another dimension. So
Right.
I think that's part of the whole interdimensional aspect of this story in general, that there is this invisible landscape or this, invisible world right here with us.
Hmm.
I think that's really cool because when they climb through the tree, there's some of those trees at Montauk actually at Camp Hero
Oh
that
wow.
um, Nancy Wheeler I think climbs out of the base of the tree where there's like a bunch of black goo and into the
Oh
upside down at
wow.
Stranger Things, and we saw those kind of trees out there at Camp Hero. We were like, this is perfect. Go climbing
Oh,
right through it. Tempting.
wow.
No, I mean that's very very close to some of the theories, and also it would explain a lot of things if that was the case. But
Mhm.
I think that's where it plays in. And some other things people were talking about is the end of Stranger Things. They foreshadowed the five-headed Hydra. It's more of a Tiamat, they think it is from Dungeons and Dragons, like the five-headed dragon kind of thing. So I think I did see it in the shadow in the sky. So I don't quite know where that plays into everything yet, but
Mm.
we'll see as the show comes out.
I thought they would be out by now, but I'm glad that they didn't come out with
Yeah,
those.
I think it's the end of the year. New Year's Eve is like the
Yeah,
finale or something.
it's
So
gonna be good. I'm gonna be
yeah,
looking at. But I always wondered. I was like, because anytime I've gone in and dove into Montauk, I don't understand. And I see when I was growing up, I had something really weird happen with an MRI, a bunch of
hmm
magnets, and like some of the same similarities that are
hmm
going through there with the. So that's why I'm so curious, like how what were they putting them under down there? Like what
mm
kind of test? Because that's what I heard. It was more like that type of magnetic testing, or I don't
yeah.
know,
They
sure, but
that's
that's kind of my understanding of it.
That's interesting because MRI could have definitely been a component of the chair itself. Uh,
Mm.
Magnetic resonance imaging. I mean, they use Tesla measurements. They're called Teslas, which is kind of cool because
Oh.
he invented the little. I think it's MRIs that use Teslas, not X-rays. But anyway, I know other people who actually felt MRIs. Even Danielle too.
Oh,
She
you know
felt
who
them.
else? Tony Rodriguez. He
Oh
talks about the
wow.
Yep.
MRIs.
Okay, yeah. There's some certain people that could feel the swirling globes of energy of magnetism and
Oh,
electromagnetism
I have
around
to
them.
tell you about, yeah. I'll definitely DM you after this and tell you
Okay,
about it.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's
interesting.
interesting. And yeah, they probably were using in that chair, especially all kinds of different waveforms and frequencies. It's a good guess. MRI would be and plus we were starting that technology, or we already had it, or it
Mm-hmm.
was close. So I could see them trying to use that. It's a great
Well, you
idea.
know, the government has it far before we get it anyway, and it's
Yep.
government anyway, so it probably was out there prior to you. Who knows?
Nobody's ever said that before, actually. So that's pretty interesting because nobody really dives into exactly how the chair works. There was a diagram in the first book, the series, Peter Moon and Preston Nichols book, but a few people have tried to explain it or what it looked like, but there's no real, um, real good, there's no real guesses on how it exactly works. Some people have tied it to Osiris's chair in Egypt as well, because you have all the connections with
Oh,
Montauk to Egypt and Atlantis and Mars. Uh, that's part of deep legend, deep Montauk lore. But it's very interesting though. Some of those things you could find, some ties to also and start taking you down that path. But I thought it was interesting because Osiris's chair was something similar where he would sit in it and travel time and space. And I think they even had some technical details on those old. I don't know if they were on hieroglyphs, I guess, not cylinder seals. That's Sumerian. But yeah, so I'd have to look back into that and tie that in because I'm interested, exactly how. I would love to see somebody do an artistic rendering of the chair as well. I've seen a few on shows or
hmm
like in the book. It was like more of a painting, but like a technical
I bet there's a
blueprint.
patent for it out there.
Yeah, probably. And all those little components individually probably have patents.
I'm gonna ask Jesse Marcel since he knows so much about that, and I'll
Wow.
see if I can find out.
Yeah, I forgot how many awesome connections you guys have, and you could probably find out so many things. One
Yeah,
thing
so
for
if
every
I
person.
see somebody and I'm listening, like, if you want me to, no, I got the name because I work on experts. You're my Montauk expert.
Wow, thank
So
you.
I'll
That's
go,
an
and then
honor.
when people do that, so I'll be like, okay, this person. So that's how I don't know, my brain works. But yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, I didn't
I
really
have a
mean
few
to.
I'm
It's
gonna
just
drop on you.
I'm a collector of stuff, so I guess just ended up that way. Plus, I do have a magnet pulling me to that place. Obviously, I like it a lot. So
And
I wonder
Montauk
if
Minnick.
Magneticus,
yeah,
I wonder if he's in here. He could probably help you um generate, like, I'm telling you, he would probably help you maybe help you in a way that would, some of the things that you
sure.
take in there. Yeah, and that he's able to do. But
Well,
definitely, I think you just getting down to the layers. Like, what if you had something that, went all the way down? I mean, what kind of equipment do you take out there with you?
I would love to. I take everything I've bought. Like I've made my own versions of
Oh, that's
different things,
even better.
like with filters for cameras, like to see ultraviolet or infrared
Oh,
to
that's
record, like old
awesome.
floppy disk filter or like exposed black and white film negative. You
Mm-hmm.
could block out different lights, and then like spotlights in the same way, like infrared spotlights, just things like that. We made our own. We use a theremin sometimes for paranormal stuff. Just instead of because a theremin circuit is a REM pod. So
Yeah.
instead of a blinking light, it's the instrument you could like play with two antennas and you go woo. Anyway,
Oh, yeah.
that's what a REM pod is made of. So we're like, let's just use the music instead in there.
I
And
have the best ghost hunting equipment in the entire world.
oh,
I have
cool.
one piece
Well,
that I've seen. This thing it's
oh,
a Portal Wonderbox that I got for Stephen Huff, but I don't even think they make them anymore. They put crystals all on the inside, and then you
wow,
ITC feed like backwards into them, and these things take out all the white noise, and you get
well,
sentences, and you can take sentences back and forth and
that's
manipulate. It's crazy.
wow. This
You should
we
take it out there. I would send it to you so you could
Oh my God, I would
hear
love
some.
to. I mean, so one of our people, we gave it to our two subscriber friend. They sent us dicyanin goggles from the
Oh wow.
Museum of Tarot, like the really nice uh, legit, like the glasses to dye that you can't get. So like 2 pairs of those, and
Oh,
then
I
the
want
clip-on
one of
one for the phone.
those.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a couple of trail cams that leave out at Montauk sometimes. Just usually get deer and stuff like that, and some other animals. And we did see a small fox there recently, so I'd like to put them back. But I have underwater cameras that I stick into the radar
Oh,
elevator shaft or like the ocean. That's when the tide comes up and gets my boots and stuff wet in the winter because that it comes up quick. And then we have all kinds of different gadgets and gear, but a lot of like cheap copies and stuff just to get certain things we
you
just
don't
got
need,
for a
yeah.
certain
Some
price.
of that was way
So
out of, I mean, that's what I did before. It was all
the
in
most
spiritual,
expensive
like,
thing
and
is
ghost hunting. So I was like the ghost
psionics. I splurged on the ones that
extraordinaire.
have
I
psionics.
was out there, and then like the UFO, and then okay, so it kind of gets back in. But I love that part though. I really
Yeah,
do.
they're all kind of interrelated, really. All these
Yes.
things.
Sure.
But
Oh,
yeah, the
should I
aurora
ask you
I
before
got.
we go on break?
Yes,
On that, since you just said they're all, and because I need somebody to give me an explanation, because
sure.
I'm
I'll
almost
give it a
there.
guess.
I feel like I can almost do this, but I'm not quite there. So I always ask people, "What is your explanation
Okay, cool. I love that. For what question? For
for
anything?
the paranormal? Where do the
Oh,
paranormal and UFOs,
yes.
where do they cross?"
I think it's interdimensional crossover, bleed through like layers of reality, and that kind of pass through each other. And I always think of that ball example, like where you pass a 3D ball through a flat piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you started on top, it's just a dot on the 2D world. It's just where the ball touches the paper. But as you push it through, the dot gets bigger and bigger, like a circle on the paper, until it gets to the equator of the ball, which is like the biggest the circle will get. And then as you pull it through the bottom, it gets smaller and smaller, the circle, and you pull it out the bottom, it's like a dot, and then it's gone. So when a 4D object comes through our world, like a 4D sphere or a 4D cube is a what do they call it? It's in the Marvel movie Tesseract.
Yeah.
But if that's what they call it, but if you pass it through 3D, you'll see something come into our reality small, get bigger, and then get smaller and leave. And that kind of reminds me of like the way um, cryptids will come and go, things in the sky like UFOs will come and go, paranormal, apparitions come and go. And all of these things seem to not stick around in our world. So I think there's some kind of bleed through crossover of things that exist right next to us. And it's natural part of the universe that they cross over, and you can see glimpses of them here and there, possibly make them happen and find places where it happens more often, and all those little factors that play in. But I do think it is paranormal because I mean it's not normal. It's not a normal event in the day. So, but I think it is part of our world and universe that we.
Do you think that, like, so I grew up seeing spirits and talking to them and things like that. So I come from that kind of like perspective.
Yeah.
And then once you see them, do you think it's like, I always think, is it me recreating? Because, telekinesis, when you're holding on the
Hmm.
crystal, you're the one that's controlling it. Like, ultimately, are you like, is this like a creation where they're here and they're, and
Yeah, that's like
like
quantum physics,
we
right?
already know, is it us doing it? Like, I don't know. I
Together.
often
Yeah.
wonder, but I know that they are attached and I see other people. I'm just wondering if it's a part of us being able to recreate, because they shouldn't still look like that at a certain point, right? They should be
Yeah.
energy, not stuck in there,
Yeah.
whatever. That's just how we see them, I'm assuming. I have no clue.
I mean,
But have you
and
ever thought about
physical
that?
things too. Yeah, I do think there are physical beings here as well. But I think, like you said, creation of reality is like quantum physics. Like there's possibilities everywhere, but if when you look that direction, you're choosing that to come to be. So it's like they even explain it with like particles of light. That's I guess where the quantum part comes from. But
Hmm.
it's like a series of possibilities, and then when you're choosing to make things, but we're all doing it together. So it's like we're all creating, and it's kind of like this huge tapestry of
Yeah.
things happening and things crashing into each other and passing through and everything else. I think it's like chaotic, and there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. Kind of
Yeah.
that's like my take on it, but we
There
barely
are
have
no
like a
coincidences. I see.
yeah. It's an unknown.
I've been
Oh,
looking at the
yeah.
rabbit
It
hole, and
goes
it's
into the unknown section. But yeah, no, I'm really looking forward into seeing like everything you got going on. You got so many amazing projects and stuff coming up. So on our second hour, we'll get some more questions in and we'll get
Thanks.
to learn some more about, yeah, there's
Sure.
so much more. So like I said, it's Brian is a natural. Brian is seriously a genius on this. And Yeah, we got him here tonight. So we are just at the top of the hour. We are going to take about a 7-minute break, and then we are going to be back to you. Hi, Andrew Rollins. Hi, Scott Rosin. You guys are great. Virgil Kane, I saw you in there. Hello. Our beautiful Polly. Andrew Rollins again. Yeah, so I'll go in there. We're just going to cut for break soon. So, and anybody else that I missed, I apologize. I will try and get back to you. But right now, we are going on a little break. And we're going to start that right now. Right. I mean, like right now.
We call home with courage and wonder. We reach for the light, guided by visions that illuminate the night. Mystery cloaked in the past unknown. Truth and discovery seeds we sow. In the starlit wonder we seek the key. So unlock the secrets of our galaxy. Of our galaxy. And with the horizons, our spirits ignite, chasing the dreams that fill the night. The stars are our compass, and time is our friend. Together we'll journey where stories transcend. Where the stars and secrets glow, Subnation X radios glow. In the night we'll ride the ships. Look at you be poppin'. Oh yeah, where the stars and secrets glow, Subnation X radios glow. In the night we'll ride the show. Into the unknown, unknown, where mysteries are shown, shown. Dance to the beat we own, oh, yeah. Come with us and let it go, go. Night sky whispers in the dark. Secret trails will leave a mark. Ignite that spark. We're on a ride, it's just the start. Into the unknown, unknown, where mysteries are shown, shown. Dance to the beat we own, oh, yeah. Come with us and let it go, go. Feel the rhythm, feel the night. Every heartbeat, pure delight. So mysteries come to light. Hold on tight, it's out of sight. Into the unknown, unknown, where mysteries are shown, shown. Dance to the beat we own, oh, yeah. Come with us and let it go, go. Every heartbeat, pure delight. Mysteries come to light. Hold on tight, it's out of sight. Into the unknown, unknown, where mysteries are shown, shown. Dance to the beat we own, oh, yeah. Come with us and let it go, go.
track, watch the past unfold.
Unraveling the mystery, secrets in the night. We travel through the cosmos, ready for the flight. Together we'll shine, casting shadows aside. In the heart of the rhythm where our dreams collide.
Join the Sub Nation, next quest, the truth is our guide. In the vast expanse, it's where we reside. Hands up to the sky, let the bass ignite. Feel the grooves around us, everything's alright.
From the combination next quest, the truth is our guide. In the vast expanse, it's where we reside. Hands up to the sky, let the bass ignite. Feel the grooves surround us, everything's alright. SNX radio, let the truth ignite. Together we'll shine, bring shadows to light. In this cosmic dance, we're connecting the dots.
Tune into the frequency, let's explore the spots. Heavy bass drops with tight beats.
Illuminate the shadows, the echo of our call.
On this road we will never fall.
Feel the energy rising, can you sense the spark? As we dive deeper into the cosmic arc.
Stories of the universe, mysteries unfold. In the heart of SNX, where the truth is gold. Every note we play, every line we write, crafting our legacy, shining ever bright.
SNX radio, let the truth ignite. Together we'll shine, bringing shadows to light. In this cosmic dance, we're connecting the dots.
Tune into the frequency, let's explore the spot. Here in the spotlight, we're taking our turn. With the fire in our hearts, let the passion burn. As the next radio's call, ringing through the air. Together we rise, together we dare.
So join us now, let the rhythm flow. With SNX radio, we're ready to go. Unraveling the mystery side by side, we stand hand in hand. In this dance of truth, let the story expand. Oh yeah, where the stars and secrets flow. Subnation X radios glow. In the night, we'll ride the show into the unknown, unknown, where mysteries are shown, shown. Dance to the beat we own, oh, yeah, yeah. Come with us and let it go, go. Night sky whispers in the dark. Secret trails will leave a mark. Follow close, ignite that spark. We're on a ride, it's just the start. Into the unknown, unknown, where mysteries are shown, shown. Dance to the beat we own, oh, yeah, yeah. Come with us and let it go, go. Feel the rhythm, feel the night. Every heartbeat, pure delight. Mysteries come to light. Hold on tight, it's out of sight. Into the unknown, unknown, where mysteries are shown, shown. Dance to the beat we own, oh, yeah, yeah. Come with us and let it go, go. Feel the rhythm, feel the night. Every heartbeat, pure delight. Mysteries come to light. Hold on tight, it's out of sight. Into the unknown, unknown, where mysteries are shown, shown. Dance to the beat we own, oh, yeah, yeah. Come with us and let it go, go.
Flashbacks on the track, watch the past unfold. Got a story to tell, a courage untold. Rise up from memories, watch us take control. Echoes of yesterday feed our fight. From shadows to light, we'll take flight. In this race, embrace our might. Hold our dreams, got the future in sight. Rise up high, let courage unbind. Erase the past, keep future in mind. Every step forward, no looking behind. We own this moment, leave fear confined. Sparking nights in the dark night glow. Flashbacks on the track, watch the past unfold. Got a story to tell, a courage untold. Rise up from memories, watch us take control. Echoes of yesterday feed our fight. From shadows to light, we'll take flight. In this race, embrace our might. Hold our dreams, got the future in sight. Rise up high, let courage unbind. Erase the past, keep future in mind. Every step forward, no looking behind. We own this moment, leave fear confined.
All right, and welcome back to this second half of SNX Radio live on Facebook, several accounts, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Kick. And looking forward to Amazon Prime Live soon. So we're going to be adding that on. Really excited for that. But welcome back. We got Brian Minnick here, and he is our expert at many different things. I mean, he really does put a lot into this. So yes, and to some of the things that you I know you wanted to like did you get a chance to do any of that, or
Yeah.
I'll let you decide where you want to start this time. I kind of took you
Oh no,
off.
that's
I know
fine.
that there were some things that you really wanted to get out.
Thank you. I mean, we could go anywhere, but yeah, there was still things I was thinking of. I mean, the last question you asked me, I was thinking of through the whole break. I thought
Oh,
of so
yeah,
many
no.
other possibilities. I'm like, I guess that's not my final answer, but there's, so much, like you said, on every topic that we could go into. But there were some things from yesterday. I think we were talking about the sweeping beam of Montauk's microwave radar, which is a SAGE radar. I saw Scott mentioned something about SAGE is cool. But yeah, I didn't know. I forgot to always mention that this is a SAGE radar in the sense of SAGE system, which is a semi-automatic ground environment, which doesn't really explain, as far as the name goes, what the complexity that it was, like the beginnings of the internet and all that. But that beam that would sweep 300 miles outward, that was a huge part of the beginning of this story. Is that even in the original book series, that they said they started experimenting in Montauk, but then started experimenting on towns further west on Long Island. Because once it goes, Long Island's really long and skinny, so like relatively you could drive from the Sound, which is like between Connecticut and Long Island. It's this big body of water, the Sound. You could drive from that part of Long Island all the way to the bottom, which is like the ocean beaches, in a shorter amount of time than driving from Montauk to New York City is 117 or 118 miles. So,
Oh
long
wow.
story short, to go across, I don't know, basically that beam would go across the water and even hit Connecticut at its furthest. And to the south, it would just go out into the Atlantic, and even to the east, it would just go into the Atlantic. But on west, it could almost cover. It could go way past Long Island, through New York City, into New Jersey, and probably into the other side of New Jersey, at least the western side of New Jersey. Um, I don't know. It's just interesting because a lot of people that are reaching out to me that aren't really on the internet, or like in the old stories on the internet, or even in any of these legends, are local Long Islanders, and a lot of them feel like they're involved or have been. Uh, something has happened to them uh, because of this, situation at Montauk over the years, growing up here. Whatever the case may be, a lot of people that go there feel connected to it, and it's a local thing too. That, and a lot of that hasn't made the internet. So I try to incorporate as much as that, because there's a lot of people around the world that want to read about this, and there's local stories that need to be incorporated, especially from that time of where it's like when the internet first started, it was very hard to get info. It took a while for the internet to fill up with this info that we're looking for. So over the years, this is an important time to document. That was one thing I was thinking of, and I'll also bring up other stuff as it comes up, as I remember also. And I saw a question from Polly about other countries, and I do think that they did share information about the Montauk Project after it abruptly ended with some other friendly allies, maybe, but not obviously adversaries or people that were, on the other side of our intelligence needs. And so, like, the usual, like what that Malta thing, Montauk Mountain Range Insert Time Archives, MALTA, that was supposedly in between France and Germany. So there was this European aspect to Montauk, a continuation. And then, of course, within the US and other sites as it goes, other states and stuff. So I don't know about too many other countries, though. I do know we work with Australia a lot, and there was that whole thing about the Pine Gap radar site down in Australia. So, I mean, I would guess that some of the English speaking countries maybe we worked with. I'm not sure exactly. So it's another interesting, great question, though.
Yeah. I for some reason when Rodney came on, mine kicked off, so I don't know. He was here's like, oh my gosh, please Scott,
Oh, I
you
saw
just
that.
keep. Yeah, you did. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm looking for the comment that you're referring to, and can you see him on your end to go through?
The comments, I have them on a pop out chat on YouTube, and I have the video from StreamYard.
Oh, great. So you can
So
get in there and see too, because I know that
yeah, yeah, that's when I saw the comment I was in the chat for a minute during the break.
oh yeah, I know you like to some people
Yeah,
do, and I always like, make sure that they're on because I'm still adjusting to all of
yeah,
the
it's a
stuff,
lot.
so I don't wanna I know you like to do it, so I'm like I said even from the start, yeah, definitely. Can you pin them at all?
Yeah, I could probably pin them. Not on your chat though,
I
because
don't
I'm
care
not
if you
in
pin
the
them on
chat.
yours or if you wanna pull them up, or do I have to pull them up? That's what I was just wondering.
Oh no, I can't pin them like that because I'm not in the chat on StreamYard.
Oh, okay.
I'm on the YouTube chat.
Well, if you do need something or just let me go in, yeah, we'll get it
Okay,
taken care of, but that's awesome.
no worries. Thank you. I appreciate everything you did here already, and what you're doing with this. All of this streaming in different places is very complicated, and I give you props for like being so good at it because I'm very simple with mine. I'm just like, you know, uploading videos, and that's about it. I have only done one live. It was a test, so I still have yet to do lives, and just the possibilities of that at Montauk are going to be awesome. I mean, I think the signal is probably okay because they actually put a cell tower on base at the old AT&T long lines microwave tower. It was like a TV radio tower, red and white one, and they put cell antennas on there. So finally, we have a good signal there. So maybe, I could do some. We always talked about it. I just never got around to it yet, but I'm gonna do some of that stuff eventually. And
It would be fun once you release that. I plan on going through it and figuring out what like I don't know. I a
where
lot.
like,
Yes.
yeah, like a lot of the stuff we talked about, you'll probably see. And
Mhm.
I like on the older videos, I tried to cover all the ground of Campiro, and me and Danielle started off doing it a while ago, but as we had guests and stuff, we started going into the radar area more. But I'm going to continue up anywhere we left off and just have it all at least documented. So we walk like all the grounds. And I don't expect people to go and find those all and piece them together. But then now that when I have all those pieces, I can make like, I plan on doing a lot more editing because I love to edit. So I want to attach like, clips of, so you can see everywhere on base or every bunker door, just have an interactive kind of thing where,
Do you love to go through and then label them on like briefly on like what they were, what they did? Like
I have folders, but like labeling the names of things, I'm terrible. I learned the
that's what I
names.
was. That's the first thing I was thinking I was gonna do when I got it. So I was
Oh
kind of
yeah.
trying to trick you into doing that for me, but no, I didn't.
I mean,
I'm definitely
I could
boring, but
label stuff
you
for
got
you.
me.
When I do it for somebody else, it's no problem. But when it's my own stuff, I have like piles of like JPEGs and
Yeah, me
things just
too.
like they're all untitled or, like,
Oh my gosh, I have papers, even rib papers, even papers like
yeah,
I
it's a
just
mess.
yeah.
I
But
make
that's
a
how I
mess when I do this. And then I'll clean up later, but like the time you throw out one thing, that's like, then you go looking for it and you can't find it. So,
I know. This is why I have to have 20,000 screenshots of things when
yeah,
I continuously do that. That's my thing. And I'm like, because they're changing everything. And if I want to
yeah,
go back and I want to look what this is originally all about, you got to go back there. They change everything on the internet.
yeah, that's so true. And sometimes I do it just to remember, a name or something, keep it current.
Mhm.
And then I'll put all those in. Once I start making a video, I'll make like a folder and everything I find along the way that's like related, I'll start throwing them in. And then I get down to the parts where like I can't, I know I have to include certain pieces and I just don't know where they are. So I'll waste like, an hour looking for these things, typing all different names and trying to find them. But still my own worst enemy with that part, like organization. Like I got to get
Well,
better
I
at
would volunteer a couple hours of my day to help like put it
Thanks.
together if you want to
That's
do
awesome.
something like that. I'm not interested.
I do want to do more and more stuff to like package up this stuff and maybe give it to
Hmm.
people so they can look through it at their own. Like, I presented
Yes.
it in a book,
Yes.
but I jammed a bunch of pictures I put so many pictures in one image page is like one charge. So I actually had like a whole bunch jammed in onto each page. But I mean, a big color version, you can see all the details and everything. You could zoom on your
You could have
computer
like
and
a little welcome. I mean, you could do a lot with this. I really do. I see you doing a lot with this.
yeah, definitely want to do some kind of map too. That's, you could click on and see what's there, kind of like the old Google Maps picture
Yeah.
layer.
No,
But
after this, I'll DM you some people that I
okay,
think will
cool.
help. Hmm.
Yeah, because I used to build websites, but everything has changed and
Yeah, me
it's
too.
too
There's
much.
some
It's
though.
I'd rather just have, work with somebody that is because everything changes so fast too. I've been out of it for a while, so I wouldn't even want to. It would be a headache to do that and try to build the website. But I do want to put some. I have a bunch of audio files, like I was telling you. Some of those, I want to put them up like an audio library for people to listen to because so
Because your
many
next
people.
one, you call this book Archives of, is that
This
what
one
you're,
is, yeah, it's like Montauk is Strange, the archives,
yes.
and then 36 years, like the tagline. But this will be like the other half of this, so it'll
Mm.
be much different, but it'll have some similarities. Like this has different sections, so like, it's not all just chapters,
Can
but
you
like
give them
there's
kind of a tease of what
yeah.
you're looking forward to or not yet?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm excited, like straight up excited about all this stuff because the people I had, like for example, there's a whole section of local firsthand accounts and anonymous from. I keep everybody anonymous, but that's a whole section in the first book, and a lot of them were locals. But now, since I wrote the book, I've been getting contacted by so many people from afar and close, and I got to speak to a lot of officials. I got some awesome people called up people and got phone interviews about the deep underground under Battery 216 that I was in as a kid. Kids that were guys that used to go in there in the 60s as kids and explain the
I see what
insides.
you're
I have
saying.
transcripts in
Yeah.
there. I did interviews with people, big names in Montauk and stuff, and local officials and stuff. And then I have like a whole bunch of amazing stuff just from people. Then I have all of our field reports going there, which there's always exciting stuff to me. Not only strange stuff that we
Right.
see and encounter, but like we keep finding more and more stuff till we have seen it all basically. And then, yeah, the chapters are addressing all of these topics and I'm backing up in the chapters with all sources. There's
Right.
plenty of pictures, blueprints, documents, maps, and then map of the underground. There's going to be some other cool surprises that I have and
Oh,
I'm
I
even
feel
using some cipher, like some code, crypto code.
Mhm.
I have a chapter or two that I'm you'll see. It's a surprise, but I'm gonna,
Oh my God.
there'll be some ways that just some fun stuff for people to do too. That is
Yeah, that's
along
fun.
the
My
lines of Montauk.
well, the radio station, it's like Subnation X, but it has like SUB, the
Yes.
number 8,
Yep.
ION, and then X. And then Agent
Right.
X is always who you get your information for, your tracking. And I said that all of my stuff is all cryptic when I went in there. So I have it as SNX because it means what it really means is subliminal dissemination. It's a polymorph excuse me,
Wow.
polymorphed word.
Oh
And
wow.
then so that's what became Subnation. So
Ah. Okay.
subliminal dissemination. And then
Yes.
I like condensed it from there. So I said
Oh, that's cool.
only a few people would even understand what the hell I was even repeating that for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
That
like,
I'll let things
yeah.
have
Well, don't
meaning.
repeat that one again. Like that was, but that's
That
exactly
is
where it
cool.
came from. So it's all cryptic.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I just was recently reading like it's almost like an anagram, but then it's reduced
Yes.
or something like scrambled and reduced. That's really cool. So I'm
Yeah.
still
There's a
putting
whole
together
list of
ideas.
rules that that I do too. But Magneticus is he's helping me work on a Trinity
Oh
type
wow.
deciphering.
That's crazy. Once you
Yes.
start adding other complexities to the ciphers, they get crazy. I've only read the very basic ones, at Bash and the Caesar cipher, and Pigpen is an interesting one with all the symbols. But there's so many, and I just started reading about it. But I have
Oh,
some.
that's gonna take oh boy. That's gonna be a part 3.
Oh no, I'm not. I'm gonna make sure this includes everything because like I have other ideas down the road, and I have other collections and other things. So I'm gonna make sure that this is just like a part 2, at least for the archives. And it's
Yeah.
if I do something more, it'll be a different kind of thing. But this
Oh,
will
okay.
be,
Yeah, no
yeah.
problem.
I'm gonna make sure
But
like
the
I'm not gonna
archives, I
string it
think,
along.
but I thought you meant the map that was coming out.
Oh
I
yeah,
didn't know if you were gonna singly do because I think that would be kind of cool if
it
you
would
maybe
be.
just like and then had the map
I
part of
might
it
have to.
too.
Yeah.
Because for the people that would come there, can you
Mhm.
imagine? You'd get like I don't know some big,
Yeah.
you have to in this play if you want to keep doing this and
Hmm.
you love doing this, you need money. It's like you need that
Sure.
support from other people. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it's
That's true.
amazing.
That's true.
Yes.
I mean, I look at it a little, because of the way it developed as a passion and like an interest. But also, yes,
Mhm.
I did give up everything I do normally, so it
Yes.
does make sense to do that as well. And I
And
might
you've
have
gone
to do
above and beyond. I think it would be great.
the map that way.
Like, I see a huge, like, documentary, even people, if you could get their testimony, even if they
Hmm.
didn't go on, but, or maybe, like, after a while, the amount of information that you have on this, what
Yeah.
are some of your biggest conclusions?
Oh, like in the beginning, like I didn't have an idea about the LSD room, but I know that they use the space to test things. It's always been a place where they roll out new stuff. So they would stick their toes in the water a lot in the early days at Montauk. It was one of those places where they could do this. So like, testing the very beginnings of Sage and the internet itself, and then later MK Ultra trials with the LSD rooms. But obviously, microwave radar was a huge discovery because some of the first times they noticed it were through, MIT, Montauk, and the microwave auditory effect paper. All those things came out in the same years. So they started realizing that microwave can be used against the mind, and that was a major thing because that kind of spread across the planet into other interests, other programs right away. So like, some of my biggest conclusions is that a lot of the things that I look for, I almost go into it thinking I'm not going to find anything, and I love this story, but it's just, and then I'll find things in the history that line up. So I'm starting to think that this was mostly true, and there might be an element of disinformation on top, sprinkled on top, like some of the things that are way over the top. It might be possible that even those were made to make this just seem just a little bit more crazy almost, so nobody would believe most of the stuff that's pretty believable or just outside the realms of. It was a place where they would advance and test anything to further their gains, further their never miss the chance to weaponize anything. That's
Ever.
basically. So
No.
this was an artillery test site and a radar test site, so all of those things could be used in directed energy or mind control. So all of that stuff has a lot of evidence to back it up, and it goes along with the history. So the only thing is time travel, really, creation of solid objects from creation of matter from the mind, through
That's
thought.
what I'm that's okay, so what do you tell me more about that right there, because that does correlate with the
Yeah,
movie and everything. Can you
yeah.
talk about that right there?
So that's been something I've just been digging into for years, and probably saw a lot of the same things everybody else did. Is the fact that there wasn't much real information in the first, book series, other than the
Right.
first person account from the original whistleblowers, which would be Preston, and sometimes Al Bielek.
Yeah.
Duncan didn't really have much to say, but he was the one that was supposedly sitting in the Montauk chair, and he would be the one that they would use to sometimes create objects from thought through
Is
Duncan's
he still
mind.
alive?
No, Duncan passed away back
Oh.
in, I think, 2017, like a year apart from Preston, something like that.
Oh,
And Al
wow.
Bielek passed away in 2010. So, they're all pretty much gone now. So, like, one of the last time Preston interviews was on the Dark Files, the same show that I was on, that they kind of brought me.
Oh, wow.
I forgot about Montauk almost, in my life, and they kind of brought me back on this show because they were using my footage and stuff. But then they took me into doing an interview, which I was against at first, but
I could see what you've got a wealth of knowledge, and you are so humble to, like, so much of this, but you have so much information. I would love to see you get that.
Thank you. I mean, I'm going to keep sharing it. So, I'll
Yeah.
keep in touch, and I'll, especially about some of these projects too, for picking your brain on just trying to make sure to make them happen or to get
Yeah.
them done.
Yeah, and I can like, that absolutely yes. Yes,
Yeah, stuff like that. I agree. Like some kind of
definitely.
resource where people can really go and see it, like in
Yeah.
an even more clear way. Like the book is just to document it, but like full color, like interactive, something like that is
And
always
even
better.
going in piece by piece of it and explaining it and, like,
Yeah,
that would be unbelievable.
I have some other ideas too, but I'll tell
Oh,
you
good.
more.
Figured you did.
Yeah.
I figured you did.
Oh, oh yeah, yeah,
That's
I do,
awesome.
and but yeah. First things first, I guess have to finish, what I'm working on. But I do all these things at the
Mhm.
same time, kind of, and they're kind of tied together anyway. And there's so many other people that have, stories. There are stories and people they know, like their experiences. People that are involved in these projects. A lot of
Mhm.
people have their stories out there, but I'd like to get some of those people maybe to talk that haven't really ever talked before, that are kind of unknowns. That would be really cool.
Yeah. I used to
So,
be a mental health therapist, so I might be good at
but
that.
yeah, that
You can't do it all
that's
by yourself. You need an assistant. I wanna help because
awesome.
I'm invested in this topic.
That's
I
so cool.
really am.
Thank you. I mean,
There's so much here that needs to, and the more people, and, like,
that's right.
because you've gone in and you've vetted so many of these, and, if you think,
Yeah,
"Hey, maybe, like, to get the message out, have," or like, small clips, I could put something together too to
cool.
help and then put that out there. But I
Okay,
think
yeah.
that'd be great.
I have plenty to, and if you have something in mind, I could always send it over, like a certain clip. But yeah, that'd be awesome. I
Yes.
mean, it's always been a lot of people, helping me with this and working on it with me, even if I did it like
Mhm.
myself. Like I went to the base with so many friends over the years, and everybody that I talked to that gave me all this info recently, all of it is little pieces, and they all help, and every little thing. So all the people that volunteer help, and I've gotten great things from most of them, like mostly everybody, and even just to get a compliment here and there, just to let people know that, I mean, letting me know that they enjoy it. That's like, that makes
Yeah.
my day. So little things like that
Yeah, no, you are
keep
too,
me
and
going.
you're like I said, you're coming and you're very humble, and I'm like, and
Thank you.
I even sent it off to a few other people. I was like, you got to, so that's kind of what we do behind the scenes, and I'm like, when I find somebody who has brought more evidence and explanation and gone down there and explored it for himself so many times with so many different, people, because everybody's gonna see things and find things,
Yes.
and I mean, like, you're going the distance here. And I
Yeah.
I think, like I said, I can help somebody who could help you identify some of the stuff, and maybe we could move a little quicker on some, or you could. I'm just looking to make the
No, that's fine.
connections in the book,
Yeah. I literally wrote that in the first one, that like I wasn't sure if I could do a second one, or, that
Mm.
this would even. So now, obviously, I wanted to the whole time. I kind of hinted
Yeah.
at that, but I did say without everybody else, it's I couldn't do it, without all of the. It's a group effort, no matter what.
Yes. Yes.
So
And I'm all about that. I tell
yeah,
people, I'm like, "I'm not your competition." I open
no,
it up and I let 2 people stream to their 2 channels, and I'm nothing. It is completely complimentary. It's all I said, I'm about fighting. If you are on and I have groups, please go in there, post your links to your show. You have a good show that's perpetuating truth. Put
Yeah,
it in there. I think that's great. We got to all support one another. This isn't
exactly.
so, yeah, Brian,
That's
like,
great.
well, now you're, so would
It's a cool way
love
to be.
to get this out there. And I know a lot of people are fascinated by all this. I just can't wait to see because if you went to Project Montauk and you had gone through it every step of the way like this, how do you feel like taking on another one? Because you're gonna know the patterns. You're gonna know, or even connecting them. Like, where do they go after there? Like, where
Yeah.
was the next site? Like, I could see you just like taking this all the way.
Yeah, like I mean, it has tendrils that kind of go everywhere, and I follow those
Hmm.
tentacles, and everything they attach to, I kind of bring into it, or like at least read myself and take all those screenshots you're saying. It could be a side topic that's a branch taking me down another rabbit hole, and I'm gathering stuff on that. But yeah, I will keep doing this always because this is like through my life, I've had like little projects, interests on certain things where I just like take everything and go crazy, absorbing the details, the finer details, and then make something out of it. Usually something, try to make a little creative or something. And so I have other things that I made and just never do anything with. But for any topic that I dig into, I'm sure there'll be something else coming that I don't even know what it is yet. So
Yeah, we have a
that's
great
true.
question from Polly. I have
Okay,
this
cool.
question too, so I'm so glad you asked it, Polly.
Yeah,
Haven't you been threatened because of this? There's to asking if you've been threatened because of this. Um, and I only if you can answer.
yeah, sure. Not directly,
She doesn't
you
mean
know.
not you couldn't answer, but if like anything's
Yeah, if I
stopping you from answering.
no
Okay.
problem. No, nothing like direct, like we were saying, but there's been some weird and subtle things that have happened that most people are just going to say, yeah, that's like, and part of, like I was saying before, in my defense, is to be, unless they say it's super direct, then I just kind of ignore them. And that's been a good way to defend, against anything that's subtle. But yeah, they're like, for example, I did write about once, it was weird, like uh, a couple that said they were in the Coast Guard came to town and they were asking all about Montauk, and they somehow found their way over to the house next door where my sister was renting the house next door to me with her friends at the time. And I went over there, and they wanted to see the Montauk video. They were badgering me on it. And then it was missing after they left. And then it turned up later. It was this whole weird thing, So they were like, just came into town. They said they were brother and sister, but one had like darker skin and dark hair, and the other one had blonde hair and like light eyes. I was like, there's weird things like that. And then the guys who took me to New York, to Brooklyn, to do the reel to reel that we found at Montauk,
Hmm.
that was weird. First, they wanted to meet me in the Queensbridge housing projects, like in right over the 69th Street Bridge, which is like a really rough place in New York. And and then they came and picked me up. There was this whole thing, like we got into an argument, and then they took me there. I didn't know these guys for anything, but what I got out of it is that they wanted to hear what was on the reels, and so did I. So we kind of, maybe we were using each other and just rode together that day. And I had to actually steal myself a clip of that audio by putting my GoPro in the headphones, because they never gave me the copy of the reel to reel that we worked so hard. We carried this thing down the street in Brooklyn, up the stairs into the recording studio. We were there all day. I did an interview, which was really awkward, because I felt like these guys were like alphabet soup, basically, agencies. And but I knew that ahead of time, and I willingly went with them so I could get my copy of what was on this darn reel that I sent out to all these services you see on TV that are going to convert it for you. All of
Oh,
them rejected it, sent it back to me with these excuses. And I don't know if we can make it work, as not, we didn't know what we were doing. So now I have my own machine, but I thought that was somebody, really interested in what we found to rule it out. And I may have rode with somebody that day. And there's been a few other things, people that came into my life kind of harassed me. And, uh, I've wondered about those things, but there's nothing I can put my finger on. So I like to just, unless they come right up to me and say it, you know, give me the fair warning, at least if you are trying to threaten me, because I'm not getting the message if they did, I guess, is my answer.
yeah.
So, and I think,
I think I suspect with what you have, and that's why I would back it up, and I like
yeah,
not saying me because I wouldn't saying it out here, but I have two kill switches, kind of in that way. But where if
sure.
something were to happen to a point, I'd have to get all this stuff, and it just so happens it's right. up your alley, probably. I think
Sure,
so.
that's cool.
So yeah, so it's just yeah, definitely.
I've
But
sent stuff out to people like little, backup things,
that's
different
awesome.
continents and stuff. So um,
Yeah, we should do some digging.
yeah,
Really, definitely digging. So
that's
what's
cool.
your
Thank you.
take on so Montauk, I feel like is just like are there other places that you've had like in mind like after you get this map down or where do you think it would take it to you next? Cuz you couldn't just stop at just Montauk, right? Cuz you
Well,
got other areas that are connected there.
yeah, you have. Well, that's a great question because there's like layers to that. Because of the first thing you think of is Montauk worked directly with B&L. So B&L invented the maglev train in 1968. They invented magnetic levitation trains. Japan was the first one to build a working one on record, but B&L could have made test tracks underground right to Montauk. It's not that far, really. I
Yeah,
mean, if that would be a great place to first run out. And they also invented in the same year, I believe, video games. The first video game ever was table tennis. So
I
you're
love that.
thinking like
Yes.
virtual reality and integrating with people's minds, like
Ugh,
Neuralink chip. That's basically what they were doing back then. And somebody named Jose Delgado was the first person to really put chips in people's brains and start messing with that. That was part of MK Ultra. So like all this stuff has good historical roots that kind of just like they didn't stop. None of these things stopped. Like you
mhm,
said, they just changed into new things.
okay.
And yeah, it's really cool in a sense. But B&L will be one connection definitely locally. But then you have the deep, like there's these deep volcanoes under Long Island, about 1,000 feet down. It's a lot of sand from the glacier left, and
Mm.
people don't think we have bedrock, but it's down there 1,000 feet. So like inside of all the volcanoes are lava tubes that connect across the whole
I'm gonna have
country.
to do some searching around the land of Montauk now and see
I
if what
think they connect to all
yeah.
the deep underground bases eventually. Like to answer the question, like that network of back when they first started speculating about it, I think they already were listing like 300 of them. So I do believe Montauk will be connected to the whole network if there is one of spanning the U.S. Uh, who knows? Yeah, if you ever come out this way, of course, let us know.
Yeah, that would be amazing. I would
That would be.
love to see that. And so what I guess what areas are you going to? Are you going to go see the other chair to see what it looks like? Are you going
I
to
don't think we can. I think like
yeah.
they're. Yeah, I think they would be deep under and some kind of secure facility.
Even oh, I was thinking to look for the where the other chair might have
The
been.
one at Montauk, right? I
There
think.
was one in Montauk and then there was one that was
Oh, the
similar.
one up in Rome. I mean, I think it's an active airbase or something. I would have to ask Rodney more. I mean, I probably wouldn't because it's like currently guarded. The same thing with
Oh, it
BNL.
is.
That
Okay.
place is very
I
active,
know you
and
said they left for a bit. I wasn't sure if they were still and there was a park there. I thought
yes, the one
maybe
in
the chair
Georgia.
is still, you never
You're
know.
right. It's somewhere.
It is
They
some yeah.
it's somewhere. I'd like to know where the one at Montauk was because I never got the full story on that. So
Is that the first person that you have
yeah,
come across that made it to the chair?
yes, first person ever that told me they found it, actually found it, and they were legitimately scared. So I thought it was a
That-
really interesting story. I went, and sat down in their house. They invited me to their house. I
I'm
brought
still
my
here.
book. Oh yeah, no problem. And it was cool because they invited me in, and I sat with them for a while and talked, and I got a sense of, they really believed what they were telling me, from in my opinion. And I didn't make it the whole focus of why I was there because it was cool just to meet some of the locals, and they were going to introduce me to some other locals that had some wild stories they don't share with outsiders. So it was really cool to know some people in town, and also maybe later she'll warm up or they'll trust me more, and maybe they'll share. But I would tell them, let me
Yeah,
know what I can tell other people, if anything. And
right.
but yeah, I think in that case, if I'm the one that puts it out, then maybe they'd let me do it or something like that.
Or even if they had a testimony like an under like okay, so if you're going to the radio, you might want to not play it live and your voice changed, but just to have
Yeah,
that as a background for and maybe, you can help tell the story, but I
yeah,
would
that's a great
if I
idea.
find anybody that long because once in a while I'll come across somebody who will say from Montauk, but I'll definitely tell you who first because there's a few you just don't want to go there. So,
Yeah,
but I will definitely tell you who's first, but that I know.
yeah,
I think that'd be great if you could
yeah.
get all that together and it'd be like,
That
I
would
mean,
be.
that would be astounding.
Yeah, to combine that aspect with,
Yes.
the other. You have to have all the angles, to make it's hard. You can focus on one part of this or the other, and kind of make it. It's already big enough to begin with, this kind of topic, and to make a documentary. Usually, you'll see it focused on one aspect or another, but to be all inclusive like that would be pretty epic. So it's a
So
lot of
what
thinking.
kind of tests do you know did they think when the kids were there, like the Project Montauk or Montauk, is it Montauk Project?
Yeah, Montauk Project.
Do you know when the kids are there in Stranger Things and that kid was like, do you know the whole premise like behind? I know I kind of said something before
Yeah.
after that, but on him being able to control the lights and things like
Oh,
that, and then like just their power on like when she would get mad or that
yes.
electrical, type thing. Did you
Sure. She
hear
has.
about any of it, or I mean, come
Yes.
across
Is this
any of
like
it?
like what when she moves other objects with her mind? It's
Yes.
telekinesis, or psychokinesis. I like telekinesis or telekinesis. I don't know exactly how you pronounce it, but that part of it is very hard to find. But they were definitely the CIA was really into researching that, and it was
Yep.
part of a lot of those projects. I think Project Grill Flame started in 1983, right when Montauk supposedly closed, but they definitely mentioned telekinesis in that. They called it psychoenergetics, and it was telepathy, telekinesis, and remote viewing. And I've seen Eleven in Stranger Things do all three of those. She ties well, it's kind of like astral travel too, and she walks in the black area. But she also has done some, seems like remote viewing a little bit, but also definitely telekinesis when she moves objects, and telepathy seems like also when she ties the bandana around her head. So I think they're playing off the fact that it was parapsychology at Montauk, and it's always been talked about. And it could be remote viewing, telepathy, moving objects with your mind, and also other things too. I've heard of some recently that I never considered before, but somebody mentioned side trailing, like tracking somebody, psychic imprint of somebody, because
Hmm.
it was like this Russian scientist. It was in a book about had some time travel stuff that they did, and a lot of parapsychology. I forgot the name of it, but anyway, the name of the book. But there was a part where this guy was talking about quartz crystal and how he made a machine to record everything at that spot in
Oh,
time
quartz
into the
crystal.
quartz,
Yeah.
and
You
that's
know
what
the
they would use
portal
as
that
a
I have? I
reference.
said we should go on a ghost hunting thing, or I would even send it to you to use for a couple of them. They all are
Wow,
lined in these crystals, and they're there
wow,
for a different reason. It's an amp, and it like you would.
oh,
It's
that's
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is. It really is. It's well worth it.
that's amazing. Uh,
But to take it in there and see maybe if you get any feedback or so.
yeah,
I mean, you go
go ahead.
down and they're talking about this black matter that's seeping through and the kids. What do you think it was all about? Like, what were they actually doing? Were they testing kids with acid? I mean,
Well, what they
what
were,
is really going on there?
I'm pretty sure that when they did the acid test, that they were using probably people that were enlisted. It was
Right.
right next to the enlisted men's and the officers club, the NCO, and the enlisted men's bar. It just happened to be next door, like to that. So I could see somebody having a few drinks or something in their drink, bring them over there and talk them into it. Maybe some kind of bonus or pay. The usual ways to entice people, because that place was pretty high security at the time. So I don't think they could bring civilians in and out very easily. Then in the same year, they converted one of these old World War II bunkers into a fallout shelter, and there was this storm, and the storm actually, this is like early weather modification, because the storm hit
Mm.
Montauk, and it came around Hurricane Esther, it's called. It came
Wow.
and it came and hit Montauk twice. They steered it in a circle and hit the same place twice. They put all the people from town in the bunker that night. I even have a picture of them all in there. Somebody sent me, and it's called Project Storm Fury. That night they were doing cloud seeding in the Bahamas, and it was like weather control to make storms. And one of the planes went down in the Bermuda Triangle the same night. They did like 3 missions that night. And in Montauk, the radar was turning, because that was in the documents. It said it was operating as normal, but they put all these people in this bunker. So I think that was an early like mass mind control experiment, like mood control or something, because they did have the radar being calibrated as they were sheltering these civilians, which was really strange. So first they used some enlisted men, then they used some civilians. So they were just like toying with it. And in the 70s, they had all these people there for R&R, other units of Army, and they would broadcast upon them. But over
Wow.
time, at that point, this is where it diverges. The base closes topside. It's like a show on top, like street theater. They have this, they're doing their jobs, they're keeping the radars working, but they have no real mission. But below them, they start building the deep underground base. And that's when it kind of diverges. You have this topside show upstairs of like, now civilians are coming onto the base, nobody's armed guards, and they're playing bands on the weekend. Kids are riding bikes all over. And it was crazy, like, letting everybody in those years, and they're like, "There's nothing going on here." The guys that work there all say there's nothing going on because now it's moved below their feet. So down there is when they started doing the real high science, all the parapsychology, psychic experiments, and so that's when they start involving people that were innocent victims, so to say. They would grab them off the street and stuff, and that's where like the kids come into play. Um, so at first, like we said, they were just grabbing random people, but then they started refining it, bringing people in from programs. And I think at first they just try to use most of their own people. But I guess if you have something really dark, black budget stuff going on, you just start grabbing people that aren't, coming through official channels. So that's
Right.
when did it go bad? When did it get dark? Or is starting this in the first place a dark thought and a dark intent to begin with? Like did
Or
they
is it
actually
random?
think
Is
there
it
was?
like something? Because I've seen it 2 ways. My buddy's like, "Well,
Yeah.
to be completely random for their studies, they'd probably have to throw a Social Security number or something down before, and then it'd be boom." But then
Wow.
you
Yeah.
have your segment of, you gotta
Hmm.
figure out all of
Chosen one.
that.
Wow. Yeah.
Yes.
This.
Yes.
How many minds did they have cooking up all these ideas and this stuff, ways to do all these things? I mean, they probably had so many more ideas of how to do this, but or maybe it was a smaller show than we expect. And um, part of the story, like they always talk about the original authors, Preston kind of involved himself as almost like the hero on base, running across space, cutting cables. But like two of the cables, he said he cut these cables in the radar to stop the whole radar from sinking with time, and like to get rid of Junior, the Sasquatch beast that was destroying the base that was conjured from Duncan Cameron's thoughts in the chair. So this is like, he's saving all these people. He injected himself into the story. So there are the wires cut in the radar, but then I went
So
across the base.
he was there on the chair. Can you talk about what his testimony was like?
Preston said he was an engineer, not in the chair. And
Oh, okay.
I think in his later years, some of the last interviews, well, La Montauk Chronicles are some of Al Bielek's last interviews. That was Chris Garitano did that documentary, and Preston's
Oh,
in
I
that.
got confused.
And I was
Okay.
in the follow-up show with them on the History Channel. That's when Preston's last interview, Chris went upstate to Preston's house in Cairo, New York, and interviewed him there. And at that point, he did some recreations of what Preston said happened. And there was this guy who used to run the project that they named him, but I don't know if he's a real person or not. So I don't know, But anyway, so Preston was held at gunpoint apparently to go shut off the machine. He didn't want to. So I wonder how much of that is, true, because to run from the basement of the radar across the base and cut these power lines where they are would be like a lot of running. And he didn't look like he was up for that kind of run in that short amount of time. I mean, to be honest, I don't see how he could have got there. And then we also found other cables across the base in this building that nobody's ever been in before. It's a Parks building. The state trooper used to live in there. The guy who caught us once, and a German Shepherd. And so another person who's involved in Montauk since he was young. He worked at the park for 20 years. He was on a few shows, and now he doesn't really want anything to do with it. He kind of got burned by some of the media.
Oh, yeah.
And but he let me into this on his last week there. He was like,
Oh,
screw it. He's like, let me into their building to look for the underground fallout shelter under there. I went down in like the hatch into the crawl space, looked around, and I
right.
found this part of the building you can't get into. And what was the point of that? There was something that tied it all together that I was going, but I kind of lost the point of what I was getting at. But
No, I totally get that. I
yeah,
did. Well, I was following the story, and then I was like, yeah, I
yeah.
hear you.
But anyway, he let me in there, and the cables. That's
Oh,
where I
yeah,
saw those
yeah.
power cables that were cut. They were like cut with like the jaws of life or something. They were clean cuts, but it
Oh,
looked
wow.
like they were shutting the power to the whole place off. So there might be a truth to that, but it looks like a team effort. Like a bunch of people would have to
I
cut
wonder
these
if the
cables.
water going underneath and any other things like their little free energy corps, I wonder if they have, or there is
Yeah,
an energy source over there. I feel like there has to be.
that's what a lot of people say. That's like the basis for why they chose this spot and like what's down
Uh-huh.
there is something ancient, maybe like some kind
But
of
they're gonna
crystal type
flood
thing.
the areas that they don't want, either
Yeah,
that or it's just gonna be you gotta make sure maybe it's only flooded for a foot, better put your hand through it.
yeah. They,
Like,
I think
that's
they
a game they
covered
play.
all the electronics in
Crazy.
water and just got
Yeah.
made them all short out at once, basically, to get rid of all that stuff. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
it's quite the tale, and there's a lot of there's a truth to a core to all this, a
Yes.
core truth to every
Yes.
story. So
Oh, I
I
agree.
don't know.
Polly had a great question too. Polly Rodman, our girl, she said, "Can you tell us if you found any evidence on the governor learner's ability and to manipulating time, and what was it if you had?
Yeah, well, that's a huge rabbit hole too, and I have been following some of those different time travel stories and everything, including some of the ones that involve the government getting time travel, going back and changing things, and you keep finding things that kind of line up with it, which is crazy. But I did see that White House post where they said they manipulate time and space. There's been a few strange things in the media lately where they hint at certain abilities that nobody's really announced if we have or not. Um, yeah, there's some amazing ties to current events and even the past, and hints in movies. Let's just say, like lots of very strange synchronicities in the movies we kind of grew up with in the '80s. That
Yeah.
always makes you think too. Like they warn you ahead in
So
some of
you're
these
an
things.
Xer too, right, Jen? Or
Yeah.
Brian? I said you're an
Well,
Generation Xer too, then,
oh
right?
yeah. Yep.
I love it.
Drink from the hose generation.
Yeah. Your
But yeah,
diving
yeah.
breed. Yeah. No,
We're
that's
kind of a little more reckless, I guess, in ways.
yeah,
But
but
it,
back then we did this stuff too. It was like we get on our
yeah,
bikes. We didn't have to be home until that sun went down. And I
yeah.
can't tell you how many these like
12-hour days.
underground sewer things as a kid that were
Oh
empty
my
that we
God.
went
Yeah.
through. I mean, kids
Yeah.
explored back then. You got on your bikes and you did things and you ran when you
Hmm.
got caught, whatever. Kids were way more resilient back then. So
Yeah, and
that's
you didn't
when you
have.
got a lot of that. I think I don't care what anybody says of the shape of the video, getting those VCH tapes out and putting
Yeah.
them through, like, that would be amazing too to see some of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
I'd like to
bravo.
get.
And
I
then,
used to have that equipment. I want to do that again with the copies and get a cleaner copy one day. So I'll talk to you about that too,
oh,
about
yeah,
converting them.
yeah, no, that's up the list. Okay, this is gonna be great. But,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess that, we're coming encroaching in on that second hour. Can
I'm
you give
sure. Yeah.
everybody links, let them know where, make sure I
Absolutely.
did try to repost those. I wasn't sure if it was
Thank you.
really
I saw that. Yeah, it's YouTube channel. Everything's named Montauk is Strange. So YouTube is a lot of our videos and all our trips there, plus like some little mini documentary type things on micro topics in Montauk. You'll find a lot of the stuff on YouTube. But if you want to see some pictures, there's Instagram. It's Montauk is Strange. I'm the only one named that. So it's pretty easy to find. The book, the print edition of the book is like a textbook coffee table book that's on bookbaby.com only. That's the publisher. They'll print you your own copy and mail it to you one at a time. And also the ebook, which a lot of people also like. Some of the pages are just slightly tilted, which I want to do a second edition, but I like it for what they did. They put 9 tables of contents in there for me, which is crazy. So that's on Amazon.com. And if you have a different platform, it's also on every store that sells ebooks. So like Barnes and Noble, Apple, all of the bookstores. There's like a bunch of them. And then the last thing, I think I got everything. If you want to send something, montaukisstrange@gmail.com. And I think that's all of it. But that should be enough. I do have a Facebook book page, but it's not very interactive. But if you want to like it, I would appreciate it too.
yeah, that's awesome. Find
Well,
and the links are in there and any of those because I heard a couple of them that I'm gonna update. So if they're not in
perfect.
there now, look back and I'll post all of it for the groups and then I'm gonna get the segment between the two of them and do some edits and stuff and get that to you.
Wow.
And
Okay. Cool.
look again, once you get going on this map, and you know what, I'll just leave it there because you're definitely gonna come back, right?
Oh yeah. I'll
With that,
definitely let you
so
know. And
we don't have to say goodbye because I hate saying goodbye,
yeah,
people.
Irish
So
goodbye.
yeah, so if we got some projects coming and we're really gonna
Uh,
bring that's gonna be huge, guys. Just to go down and think this
Thank you
map
for
is
offering your help.
huge, definitely huge. So Brian,
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming
Likewise.
again. And you got to give them all of your links, right? All that's
Yeah.
there.
Everything. Multiple. Thank
Everything
you so much.
great. So go and check Brian out.
Thank you.
He has he's an expert. I don't care. He's
Thank you.
definitely our expert. So again, thanks for coming on the show, Brian. And then
Anytime.
well, yeah, I'll mail or
I'll be
PM
back
you
to
and
let you
stuff
know as
after.
soon as I.
So sounds good. Well, everybody, thank you for staying on the journey into the unknown with us tonight. It was great to have Brian. It was great. I just want to say one last shout out to those kind people that picked me up off the side of the highway today and drove me when I was so lost. And I will forever appreciate that. So, David And Susie, wherever you are, your daughter with the beautiful baby shower, I wish them well too. So you guys were so wonderful for me today, and I will pass it forward definitely. And to everybody else, thank you for everybody in chat. We are getting better at this, I swear. We are getting better at this. But yeah, it was great to see you. I saw James Kelly in here. Yeah, and Scott Rawson, of course, he's my bro too. Um, Virgil, I don't think that I missed any. Andrew, oh gosh, Andrew is part of the initial group too. So, paranormally behind disclosure. Welcome, welcome. Oh yeah, I saw James Kelly come in now. I had to go up a little bit, but I just wanted to make sure that I did not miss anyone in our girl Polly Rotterman. And if you have not seen Polly on any of her podcasts, please go and look her work up. She is amazing. She helps so much in our groups and helps so much with everything. Like that girl, she's on top of it. And I don't even know how she does it, but she's really good at it. And she gives her interviews and the information and details that she has backing all of her experiences are phenomenal. And she's got one hell of a story. And I just, I give her a whole lot of respect, mad respect. And she'll be coming on our show quickly. So I'll update you on those dates. And so again, thank you for taking the journey into the unknown with SNX Radio. And we will be seeing you next Friday and Saturday Night Live. And hopefully we will have gotten all the stuff taken care of for Amazon Prime because I'm really live. So I'm really looking forward to that because it's a great it I think it will definitely be good for us. So without further ado, I am going to say goodnight to each and every one of you. And I thank you for your support on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, Kick, and YouTube. And yeah, so we got that. No problem. And enjoy your weekend.
Story to tell of courage untold. Rise up from memories, watch us take control. Echoes of yesterday feed our fight. From shadows to light, we'll take flight. In this race, embrace our might. Hold our dreams, got the future in sight. Rise up high, let courage unbind. Erase the past, keep future in mind. Every step forward, no looking behind. We own this moment, leave fear confined. Let's explore the spots. Heavy bass drops with tight beats. Illuminate the shadows. gold. In the heart of SNX, where the truth is gold. Every note we play, every line we write, crafting our legacy, shining ever bright. SNX radio, let the truth ignite. Together we'll shine, bringing shadows to light. In this cosmic dance, we're connecting the dots. Tune into the frequency, let's explore the spot. Here in the spotlight, we're taking our turn. With the fire in our hearts, let the passion burn. As the next radio's call, ringing through the air. Together we rise, together we dare. So join us now, let the rhythm flow. With SNX Radio.